Hi, welcome to the Chamber Podcast. I am Dr. April. We have Dr. Tamika, Dr. Tamara, and Dr. Kanisha. Today we are going to discuss cuffing in COVID for Christmas. So, first, let's dive in and talk about the definition of cuffing. Cuffing is the run up to winter when previously contented single people start seeking shelter in the coziness of a committed relationship, at least up until the weather heats up again. And generally, the reason is sadness or just avoiding being alone for the holidays. So, ladies, what is your take on cuffing season?
Stay hydrated.
Okay. So, as it relates to being single, as it relates to people who are coupled up or married, what do you think? What is some advice with dealing with your significant other partner while we're in cuffing season?
Well, when you think about it being cold, you want to be around somebody. You think about, oh, it's freezing. This is the time that you're not moving around a lot. It's this week it's been 30 degrees. So that's the first thing you think about. Oh gosh, I want to get, in under the covers, and I either want to talk to someone intimately, emotionally, or I want to cuddle with someone. So I can actually see that this cuffing thing I'm just learning. So this is kind of a new term for me. That's why I was like, let me look this up so I can get a better idea of what it is. And I think it is absolutely hilarious.
Okay.
It is. I'm with Dr. Tamika. I've never heard of cuffing. I've heard of this phenomena of people wanting to kind of, I think of hibernation. We go into hibernation when it gets cold and wanting to snuggle up to someone. But the actual term cuffing, I'd never really heard of before. So it's new for me. And I guess being the married woman of the crew, I guess I'm already cuffed. But, I would say for thinking about, okay, when this time has come and what is kind of the goal of what you want out of cuffing? Is it that is it to kind of combat loneliness? Is it that you're really wanting a long-term partner? Because sometimes I think that thinking about, I really just want to be with somebody and I want a partner. If the other person is thinking, the other person who you were looking out to, they're just wanting to cuff, that could be problematic. So I would wonder, how do you go about finding someone who is maybe on the same, thinking about the same way as you are? Because I could see that leading to maybe some heartache if you're like, yes, I'm in this. And they're like, nope, after February, this is going to be it.
Right.
Oh, distracted because Tamara sent me a message about the volume.
Yeah.
I'm
I do believe that I was the one who introduced cuffing season as terminology to the group, as I have been an active participant in cuffing season for the last decade or so. I want to also introduce another vocabulary word to you, and I want my sisters to be aware of the hobo, H-O-B-O, sexual, hobosexuals. These are both men and women who are looking for relationships and ties in order to have some place to stay. So you already have cuffing season, cold weather. People are trying to find mates. And you brought up a great point, Dr. Tamara. Is this a temporary situationship, or are people looking for their happily ever after? And I think it looks completely different in COVID and quarantine, because we have been forced to isolate and quarantine from each other. And you have this fear that the world will shut down again. And when it shuts down again, will you be shut down all by your lonesome without a cuffing partner? And we haven't been able to date and socialize and actually peruse the eligible bachelors and bachelorettes out there. But I also feel like, and this is just in my personal space, I feel like the availability of a lot of people has gone up as divorces, separations, and relationships have ended. A lot of them in COVID.
Right.
So I don't know, but I'm hesitant to cuff in cuffing season. Like I said, I've been a regular participant because I don't want to get locked up with somebody that was supposed to be situational and seasonal, and it turns into more than it should be because you get quarantined together because you're at the wrong place with the wrong person at the wrong time.
But isn't that a good thing though? If it turns into more than it should be, maybe isn't that the goal?
It's kind of
Not
like that
necessarily.
conversation we had earlier about shopping when you hungry. You might not want to be cuffing when you quarantining because you're all like, just think about, like, we were talking about being desperate for social interaction during quarantine. You might literally just want some normalcy in dating, and it may lead you to cuff yourself to the wrong candidate because of our quarantine COVID situation.
Okay, so Dr. April and Kanisha, then I'll add to that. So for me, during COVID, if you don't live here, and I live here, then you had to come with a thermometer. I had to check your temperature, and there were some things that had to take place before you came inside. So I didn't make you wear your mask the whole time. You had to come in with the mask, but once you checked out, you were okay. So I can relate to that because COVID, it kind of had some really lonely points because everyone was staying away from everyone. Like, I went to work over here and you went to work over here. And so you're not knowing where all the other person has been. So just being careful was the thing. No matter what, if you don't live here in this house, then I got to check you.
But the thing about it though, Dr. Tamika, is everybody who has COVID doesn't necessarily have a fever.
Correct.
So,
That's correct. But I would just kind of say that was my security blanket. Like, I felt like, I know some people are asymptomatic, but to me, I'm still going to feel better if I check you when you come to my door.
That sounds a bit like, what you do in the chat? You have rapid test?
right?
Rapid test? Because you sound like you're about to break it out.
I would love to have a rapid test, but I should have actually photographed the person and that I had to take the test. Like, you got to take the test when you come in. So he popped it and, popped it.
I honestly, I think that if you are mixing and mingling, I mean, the temperature checks are just not enough. It's not enough to keep you safe. It's not enough to keep them safe. And I think it's very, very important to ask questions about what you do through your daily cycle or whatnot. Like, I work in healthcare. I take care of COVID positive patients. So that's been the main reason why I have not been dating. I mean, I'm extra super cautious. I get my brain sampled, which means I actually take a test every single week. I get my antibodies tested as well. Like, I have no exposure whatsoever to COVID. And I'm not going to date somebody who does not align with those precautions because I have a multi-generational household. I'm not going to risk my health. I'm not going to risk my family's health dealing with people who are not taking this virus seriously. But I think it's a really good point that you brought up. Like, I think people need to be more diligent about socializing. If it gets beyond virtual, if you're meeting somebody in person, you need to socially distance. You need to wear your mask the entire time. It's better to socialize outside than inside because the average household, business, and school does not have adequate ventilation to prevent the spread of this virus. So if they're inside the house, there's even recommendations right now for people to wear their mask inside their homes. If you have people coming to your house to work on things or whatnot, you really, really want to limit your exposure. They really should have their mask on the entire time that they're in their presence, or take it outside, stand your 6 feet apart and have a conversation. But people have to be safe because I promise you, that little hello, how you doing it's nothing to play with and it's not worth dying for.
That's true. I agree. So that means when you having sex, you may need to keep the mask on because I know there's a study out that shows that it's not transmitted through semen.
That's
as
actually
we know
incorrect.
of.
The coronavirus has been isolated in semen several
Really?
times. So
It's
yes, it is transmitted via sexual intercourse. It has been isolated from semen. So you need to mask up, condom up, all that up, ask for test results. And no, you don't need to be swapping saliva with people you do not know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this entire cuffing season in COVID, I don't mean to like pour cold water on people's wet dreams, but it's different. It's absolutely different. And I kind of like, honestly, I know this is going to sound really, really crazy. I like some of the boundaries that COVID has put in place, because you are going to have to show me real effort to date and cuff me in a pandemic. And if they're not willing to put forth that real effort and those precautions, is this somebody you want in your life long term?
Okay, so you guys know, I've already mentioned, I'm really OCD. So this is the part of COVID that I like. I don't like kissing anyway. So it's perfect for me. I mean, so it's like we can mask up. We're good. You can sit on this side over here. I can sit on that side over there. So
I got a question.
we're good.
Why don't you like kissing?
I don't want to exchange saliva with anyone. No.
Closed mouth kissing, just on the lips? Or you
Yeah,
just...
but during COVID, just your mask to my mask.
Wait, that's not a kiss to me.
I love it.
Mask to mask?
Never.
What about Eskimo kisses?
What's that?
Rubbing noses?
When they rub their little noses.
No, because you may have some stuff going on up there. No. I'm okay with that. So I'm good with that. You know, we can fist bump, we can elbow bump, you know.
That is so intimate.
And, you know, we can touch, you know, I like to touch feet. You know, I like to.
Second. You rather touch feet than lips?
Yeah.
Come on.
Touch feet. As long as you had a shower. You just had a shower.
Say
I
something.
just had a shower. We can touch feet, but we don't have to change anything.
This is your friend. Say something.
Tripping about, okay, the kissing, but you would have sex during COVID. That's the thing that just baffles me, because you just said that that's not correct, that COVID is not transmitted through sex, but now it is. So that just rules everything out for me. I'm good.
Yeah. No sex either. No sex.
I'm good.
So what does that mean for cuffing season?
Cuffing means
cuffing season
is no longer going to be physical. People are going to have to get to know each other on an actual real, like the art of communication cannot be lost.
Yeah. Or they're not getting to know each other at all.
She's not about to kissing. I didn't unfortunately hit Dr. April to COVID being isolated this season, so she shut down all booty calls. Like, literally, you better start, men, y'all need to start back writing poetry and really wooing these ladies. Okay. And listen, and quarantine, like really isolate yourself for 7 to 10 days, get your test updated, get tested regularly. There are a lot of free testing sites in Texas, all around Texas, in the Dallas and the Houston area. Get your test results. We're gonna need your test results, okay? And we're gonna need you to actually isolate, like literally. I don't think that most people are gonna take all of these precautions, of course.
They are not.
We're gonna see a whole bunch.
Especially men.
We're already seeing the increase in pandemic babies. Mm-hmm. Pandemic babies is real. I don't know if this is going to be the same reflection as like the baby boomers, but I imagine that this year of repopulating, goodness gracious, is going to really show itself evident in 9 to 10 months. But yeah, I advise people, even outside of quarantine, to really get to know a person before you start committing yourself to someone, something for a certain amount of time that may not be in your best interest. So, like I said, I do enjoy that aspect of this pandemic, is that it's forcing us to really communicate outside of the norm and get to know people before we cuff them.
So how are you all doing that? Because I hear a lot of complaints from my single friends about, you know, and I may be dating myself. It's like people, they just want to text instead of talking on the phone. And how has the communication changed for you? How do you get to know someone who is, you know, with all of these, you know, especially with the virtual apps and things like that, where people just want to send a few texts and all that? What's that looking like?
One, the most successful thing for me has been relying on my wonderful friends like Dr. Tamara, who are already married, and maybe your husband got a friend. I'm just saying. But no,
we're working on it. We're working on it.
But but that, I mean, even outside of you, like that's been the most successful thing for me, is that I know my friends have my best interests at heart. And my friends know that I am crazy and I'm not about to put up with a whole bunch of foolishness. And some of my friends know that if I do get in trouble, they're going to have to put up bail. So they have all of these factors that are influencing them to pick me a nice young man and nice gentleman. So I rely a lot on my friends. Secondly, when it comes to getting to know this person that I'm introduced to, there has to be conversation. This is why I prefer men with iPhones over Android, because I'm all about the FaceTime. I'm all about video. Like, I want to see your face. I want to see some of them telltale signs when you lying, like your eyes get crossed. Like, I want to see all of that. And the few actual interaction and dates that I have been outside, as far as like hiking, going to the park. I actually met this gentleman who had dogs he needed to walk. So I met him at the dog park and we walked his dogs. We wore our masks. We had great, we were able to interact limited but in the same physical space and have great conversation. But he had an Android. So, I mean, it just didn't go nowhere.
Stop hating on the Androids.
I know, right?
Samsung is a fantastic product.
Yes.
And I will not
listen.
I will not move to an Apple.
I get on Zoom with y'all, but y'all can't FaceTime me. I do.
But we can Messenger. We can
video call.
Android.
We can do all that.
The Lord is not gonna send me a man with an Android. He's not gonna do it.
You're gonna be missing your blessing. All right, miss your blessing if you want behind
right. There's a good man out there with iPhones. Good man.
Well, hey, you have Instagram video, you have Facebook Messenger, you have WhatsApp video, so you can video on several different applications.
It's nothing like just pressing that little FaceTime button. It's just, it warms my little heart. I don't even need a phone connection. I just need a little Wi-Fi. Stay connected. Stay connected.
Well, now that I know everything that I know about COVID, I'm good. I'm okay.
Oh, well, what are you gonna do about all your little stalkers?
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Is this
you put me on blast for real.
I'm just gonna tell them, hey, watch this video. I got an announcement. I'm good.
Right.
I'm okay over here.
We do not want to die trying to get laid or any of that other stuff. It is not that serious.
I think
it's doable. I don't want y'all to not feel like it's doable.
How's it doable? Do tell.
I told you I've had great success as far as like communicating with a few candidates. I don't know if they're going to graduate to the next level, but we've been communicating via text message, via actual phone conversations, via video conferencing. I've been to a couple of virtual happy hours for my HBCU interest groups and so forth. So I've been able to virtually get around. And like I said, I rely on my friends who, I have some pretty good friends who have sent some great candidates my way. And like I said, there are actual days, like we don't live in Detroit where they get 2 feet of snow overnight. So, I mean, the weather's not that, I mean, it's a little cold, but put your hoodie on and your tight jeans. Y'all got nice figures. They'll dig that. And I mean, go for a walk. Like there's still people that have outdoor dining. If you want to, sit, you go to our friend West over at Burger Inn. We got the outdoor dining set up for the people. It gets kind of romantic in there. You playing a little music, a little dim light. Like there are definitely things that, can be done. Or are getting, I mean, Tamika, as active as you are, I find it surprising that you haven't hooked up with someone with as much adrenaline as you are that wants to work out and lift some weights and get your heart beating and racing and carrying on.
Well, since cuffing season has new rules, I'm good.
Right? Due to COVID. COVID has messed up
I'm good.
everything.
No, do not let COVID steal your cuff. Don't let COVID.
It doesn't, because I'm getting a message now. It's just.
What is that?
Never,
What is that? We didn't see a leg or a butt. What is that?
What is that?
That's my picture. I'm getting a message via messenger.
Oh, I thought you was.
Oh, okay. Somebody trying to cuff. That's what you're saying.
They want to cuff.
You got a
They wanna
potential
cuff.
cuffer on. Okay.
They want to
So
cuff.
why not just get tested? Get tested. Know your status. Know your status.
Or
That's
what
gonna
an
be a theme.
outside date.
But they may want to kiss, so I'm okay. I don't want to kiss.
Nigga, you said the two masks. You can put the two masks. You can do the two masks up to. You said that was okay. Or you can develop new forms of intimacy.
Because you know what?
Y'all can make a little TikTok video.
If two masks, if we do that, we're still too close. We're not really social distancing. So
I'm done. I can't.
Okay, so on a serious note, what can we offer the folks? What are some communication strategies, Dr. Tamara, maybe, and techniques to help couples through this holiday season? Because a lot of people are cuffed up and they're angry at each other, upset, sad, lonely. You can be sad and lonely in the same house.
That is
There's
true.
people sleeping in separate bedrooms and all this type of stuff. So let's talk about that. That is important. Communication techniques.
Yeah, I would also say, I'm always about the picking. So if you are, just be careful of who you decide to cuff with. Are they a homosexual and they don't have any place to go and you cannot maybe kick them out if it's not working out? If it is a couple, someone you're already married to, you're already living with, and you in this, but they're getting on your nerves because neither one of you have left the house. I do think that everybody needs some space. So, you don't have to be in each other's space all the time. So make sure to have your own, depending on how you work during the day, have a space, have some me time in your own space, even if that looks like, okay, going to your car and taking a drive, and getting away from your partner can be quite helpful. And then, when there are times when you do have to communicate, just be sure to use respectful communication and, kind of know your partner well enough to be able to kind of navigate those hard conversations. So, just use good communication skills as far as, using, and I say one of the main things of using like I statements. It's like, I feel this way, and never be accusatory. And sometimes it can be hard because they have made you mad by what they have said. But a good way to kind of just present things to people is, I'm feeling sad because this happened. And that's kind of a basic skill that I tell people to just really be able to start with, of using those kind of statements.
I think that's good, but let's go a step further. So with the I statements, I feel sad because you said this, let me make my request also. So I feel sad because you said this. Would you next time not talk to me like that? So I'm telling you how I feel, but I'm also making my request and letting you know what I would like you to do moving forward.
Yeah, that is a very good point, because sometimes it may be that the other person doesn't know what to do, or doesn't know, if you don't really know each other as well, how you like to receive information. So that's a really great point, April, of actually having people, kind of teaching them how to treat you.
And modes of communication is very, very important, because sometimes there are phone conversations, sometimes it is appropriate to text, and sometimes it's definitely appropriate to email. And sometimes with that conversation that you're talking about, I find, even if it results in phone conversation later. Sometimes email is better because you can write it out, read it, digest it, and try your best to get what you're really trying to convey across. Because in the heat of the moment, that filter and editing button, that cycle in live chat and conversation does not always work, especially with my default settings. My default settings, I have to put on pause and use email and journal, write it down, digest. Okay, let's not be so petty and let's have a decent conversation. But I want to give out some free game. What even if the relationship did not progress or work out, I want to give people a couple of hints that really, really have worked for me in COVID. There was this one guy who hand wrote the cutest little note, kind of reminded me of high school, and he took a picture of it and he texted to me. I thought it was so cute. I really was starting to like him, but then I was like, no, because he had problems with his teeth. Second, and I found out he had a problem with his teeth because we did a Zoom date where we were both sitting there eating with each other. Like we weren't with each other, but we decided that we were going to set apart some time to have a meal together while we were talking on video chat. And I did not like the way he chewed. And I was not feeling the structure of his oral cavity. So it didn't go anywhere, but I still think it was a great means to virtually date. It would force us to have like dialogue and conversation. And it also made me feel like I was a priority because we had to set apart time to do this as you would if you were typically dating. And my favorite thus far is I have a gentleman caller who sends me morning not aspirations, your thing, Dr.
Affirmation.
Affirmations. Every single morning he sends me an affirmation. So that's the only thing that's really keeping him in there, because that chemistry was not immediate. I mean, he's not bad looking or nothing, but that's keeping him in the game. Those morning affirmations, keeping him in the game. So that's my free game to those who are out there dating and trying to cuff in COVID. Get creative with your communication. Send them a cheesy, goofy little, do you like me? Check no, check yes. Send them some affirmations, meditation, maybe a scripture. 3, get creative with opportunities to spend time together as far as virtually dating or outside activities. Bam. That's all I got.
Sounds good. I want to throw in an affirmation there since you brought it up. So I think a really good affirmation for this whole season is, in spite of my current circumstances, I am happy and whole. So I think that's really good to focus on that. In spite of my current circumstances, I am happy and whole. Even if you may not feel happy and whole, say it anyway. That's how affirmations work. Even if you don't believe the things that you're saying, if you say it enough times, subconsciously it'll start registering, and then you'll actually start to believe it.
I love it.
I like it too.
Happy and whole. In spite of my current situations, I'm happy and whole.
I'm okay. No cuffing season here. In spite of my current circumstances, I'm happy and I'm whole.
That's all right. I got a couple of people that have already slid into my DMs and asked me who you are, and I'm gonna give them the whole spiel. I'm like, you better have your muscles together because she's strong. She might bench press you. You better come correct. I'm telling them everything.
Tell them no kissing, no kissing.
But yeah, she ain't kissing. She'll rub mask. Y'all, are we still cool on the mask? What's the last word on the mask?
I just have to, yeah.
If they got an iPhone, they can send you the little kiss.
If they have an iPhone.
Emotions.
iPhones.
Because it get boring when it comes from an Android. I'm just saying.
Hey.
Wow. So what are some final thoughts then, ladies? Dr. Tamara, what are your final thoughts?
I would say during this time, the cuffing during COVID and Christmas is to, we always talk about self-care, is to really find ways to take care of yourself. whether that looks like you are, you know, doing special things for yourself that you enjoy, or even, you know, when it comes to, you know, we're all humans, grown folks, we all have needs sexually. That may mean you taking care of yourself
Don't rub it no
sexually
more.
as well. So, you know, and I will defer to the Sex After book by Dr. Kanisha. But, you know, there may be ways that, okay, how can it's lonely, it's cold, how can I give myself some soothing in, you know, in ways that doing things that you like to do and taking care of yourself physically and mentally. So that's what I would say. If you're off the cuffing table of having someone join you, do it yourself.
Right. I'm for it. Dr. Tamika, final thoughts?
I'm with Dr. Tamara. Yeah. What she said.
I'm so done with you right now. I really, really am. My parting thoughts is don't let your current circumstances hinder you from your happily ever after, and your, like, whatever is going to be, whatever God has for you, it is for you. And if this is the season he sends you your Boaz or sends you your mate, like, don't be completely turned off to that unless he has an Android. That's my only advice.
You gonna miss your blessings. Your husband gonna come with a big old Android, and you gonna
Right.
pass.
And it ain't even gonna be no Samsung, so he gonna need to have no good one.
Like, he has an Android. Know what?
Listen, men with Android know to not even DM me. Like, this is nothing new. I am very, very vocal about I'm team iPhone.
All right, your husband gonna have an Android. That's
that
what.
effort. He'll go get an iPhone.
He might.
He will.
Okay.
I love it.
God wouldn't do that to me. Doing me and the big G.O.D. like this, he wouldn't do that to me.
You know, God laughs at our plans. So
he does.
okay.
I have a walking 5-year-old around here. I know this. But my whole family, like, he not gonna be able to participate in the family group chat. You want to participate in the family group chat? You really want this to be something long term? You're gonna have to make that investment. We family iPhone around here.
Got it.
Okay.
We got it.
Well, on that note, thank you guys for tuning in for the Chamber Podcast. Until next time, stay encouraged. Merry Christmas.